think we're on.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the Franklin County IDA meeting. Have ready to go here. I will have Maria go ahead with the roll call.
Okay, Sherry Boye,
Present, sorry.
Michael Dorrant,
Present.
James Ellis is not here at this moment. Steve Ehrman,
Here.
Madeline Fleury is not present. Justice Martin,
Present.
Archie McKee is not present. Oh, also, thank you.
Kelly.
Also present, we have Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, Russ Kenyon, and Kelly Brunette. And Susan Day Fuller. And Justin Miller.
Very good. Thank you, Maria. So we need to vote to accept the agenda. I don't know if it needs to be added as an item or if we can discuss it at the next meeting as far as facilitating Archie's schedule.
Yeah.
We should be have a discussion on that. Can we just do that when we cover the date of next meeting? Should be fine.
We also have a resolution 2020. That was LDC. Where is combining meetings again?
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the,
Can we just add an item, member comment? Is there anything, we just say that at the end of the meeting, if there's something, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the down site that was just acquired. So do you want to take a few minutes?
You could probably do that in public comment.
yeah, public comment.
Public
time.
comment?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Or it is the agenda.
Whoops, I'm skipping ahead. I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
A second.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, any public comments? Have you, Susan and Justin, I guess Justin.
Yeah.
I'll make one quickly. On Saturday, there was a groundbreaking for Home with Our Adirondacks. Proposed development of a retreat center in the town of Malone, just at the edge of right when you get into Malone on Route 30. And it was a really nice event. I'm on the board. I'm the secretary of Homeward Bound. It's an organization that does services for veterans, mostly combat veterans with PTSD. And we have done since 2015 about 100 of these retreats in sites that different sites, but one that we leased from Paul Smith College in Anchayota. We were giving that site up, and now we're going to do our own center. It relates to what we're doing here in part because in our committee meeting we just had a discussion of how to market the area and how to show the area off and all this for people. The target population for these retreats will be statewide, focusing first on the region, then state, and I think over time people coming from other states. Retreats are probably 20 people at a time. And I saw Don DeVue. It was great. He showed up at the meeting, and I was talking to him about this. And I said that really important exposure in the area. People come up by themselves. They do this. They see what the area is like. They may come back with their families for vacationing, but it's a way to broaden people's recognition of Franklin County, of Malone, the Adirondacks. And I think it's over time, it's going to emerge as something which is more of an economic factor than I think people even on the board of Homeward Bound have thought of this as. I think it's just useful to keep track of, follow what's going to be happening. I'm kind of optimistic about it. Wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other public comments? Okay, Sherry, we're ready to entertain a motion to approve the minutes for June 8th.
I'll approve the minutes for June 8th. Or I mean, I'll make a motion.
Do we have a
Morning, Jim.
second?
I'll second, Mike.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jim?
Sorry, guys. Not topping a room, so.
Best laid plans, Jim, right?
Whatever the morning was.
Okay.
Better.
He decided on he had. All right, bills and communications. Yep. Any committee report for the IDA?
You want to talk, give a quick update, Steve, on our economic capacity?
We just had our first meeting of the Economic Development Capacity Committee, and we first delved into the topic of what does that title mean. Jeremy was very helpful, had a piece of a 2021 work plan that tied in with the elements that we're covering on the committee. We expanded that list to some extent and reorganize them or reorder them a little bit. And it's going to focus on how to better market and both our organization, the county as a whole, and having strategies and having understandings basically for all of our physical infrastructure that we own, including our business parks, and advancing some plans on how to better market those, and to also focus on some of our own specific facility needs, the IDA, LDC, or the EDC overall, when it comes to meeting locations and workspaces. The next step for us, and there's additional items in there that I'll not delve into, but what we're going to do is prioritize a set of issues from that list, and that's how we'll be setting our agendas for the future for the committee. So it's very consistent with what we've laid out at the retreat in terms of plan for each of the committees in terms of.
It's just the first, we've got like 4 other ones scheduled this week and next. So I think we will meet our goal from the retreat of having every committee meeting at least once before August. So if they all go the way this one was, it's going to be really, really helpful.
Good. It's a good one.
Question. Do we have a personnel committee per se, or is that part of another committee?
We've put that under governance.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's some guy named Jim who chairs that committee.
Lucky if you're around here. Good up.
Okay, very good. Treasurer's report?
Give a quick rundown of our finances. We have a cash balance of $89,000 right now. And total assets of $1,835,000. We're in good shape right now as far as the IDA is concerned. We had $22 of income past month, so I don't know how to splurge with that income, and we had a expenses of $19,698. And then the last part of the treasurer's report is the budget versus actual that we've started including. I don't have anything to report from that, but it's there in the back of your packet.
Entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone on unfinished business? Takes us to new business, resolution 2021-19. Concerning the oil project. We have a first and a second to bring that to the table. It's a request for modification. I'll move.
I'll second.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I will, I'd like to without taking much time for me to stumble through this, I'd like to let Justin Miller, who's joined us, explain why Oya has requested a modification to their existing agreement with us and the different overall general steps for making it happen. I'll just butcher it, so we'll let him describe it to us.
Sure. Yeah. And hope everybody's doing well. The quick summary of the existing project is the solar array was built on 144 acres and up in Constable. And since the IDA closing that involved all 144 acres, they've subdivided the parcel into two separate parcels through the town and have opted to keep the project itself on just 56 acres. And then there's a separate parcel established of around 88 acres that Oya intends to continue to own outside of the project. What's driving the transaction at this point, and this is not uncommon for developers of renewable energy, they had through and continue to hold through an affiliate the ownership of the land. They're proposing to sell the land itself to a REIT type entity, a real estate investment trust. Basically, real estate investors will go out and acquire assets and lease them back to the operator. In this case, they're looking to take the new 56-acre parcel, title it into a REIT, and then continue to lease it as the operator of the project. The IDA's transaction won't change other than simply changing the property description to reflect the 56 acres instead of 144. And the resulting 88 acres that Oya will continue to hold, not the REIT, will become fully taxable. So there's a net positive here for the adjustment. The 88 acres that the project's not on will actually be accruing taxes now outside the pilot. And the project will continue on in its present form, just with a smaller footprint. So the resolution that's in front of you today describes what that modification is, and then authorizes the execution of documents to make that modification, which, for simplicity's sake, we've bundled it all into a single, what we call an omnibus amendment agreement, which changes the property description on all the IDA documents. And we'll send that to the affected taxing jurisdictions, the town, county, and schools, so they're aware that the pilot only relates to 56, and the assessor will get notice of that as well, and make the 88 taxable and keep the 56 on the exempt rules as part of the ongoing IDA project. So it's a long answer to a short question, but I'll be happy to answer any questions or provide any other specific board has any questions.
Justice Steve Berman, does the 88 acres, that will remain in the ownership of Oya, right?
Yeah, through an affiliate, they'll continue to own it. I'm not sure exactly what their long-range plans are, but typically the size of these projects is throttled by or governed, if you will, through interconnect restrictions. So if in the future they're able to expand their interconnect opportunities out there, I wouldn't be shocked if they put, another 5 megawatts or something someday. There may be some logistical challenges with wetlands or otherwise out there that may restrict their ability, but we're kind of, I imagine, just waiting and seeing what the long range plans are. But in the short term, the 88 acres is now converted to commercial and fully taxable. So it won't be sitting there quietly with an ag exemption like it did for probably decades. It's something that'll accrue some actual, vacant land taxes, but at a commercial use.
Appreciate that. Because the second question was, what's the intended use by Oya for that other property? Now we know that. Are there ever any associated uses to solar farms that could be created, or development occurred that could actually increase the ratables on that property without having an additional solar field?
Yeah, they could install battery storage, which doesn't necessarily include a significant footprint. They could probably have that on the 56, and that would be an amendment under the pilot someday. That would be taxable until we include it in the pilot. But they could do battery storage, they could do lay down, they could do logistical things with it. My guess is the highest and best use would be for an additional array, if they were able to get the interconnect queue, and maximize the use of the property. Whatever's dry and developable there, it'd have to go back through the town for a special permit or site plan, if and when it does go through.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Justin. Any other questions or Justin? Okay. The second, the roll call on this one.
Sure.
The motion, was a motion to come on the table or to act on that motion? Or do we need a separate motion to change?
Just adopting this resolution.
Or adopting the resolution?
Which has all the
Also,
language,
just need a
right.
roll call.
Should do that with the roll call. I'm sorry.
So Steve brought it to the table, Mike seconded it, so roll call vote to adopt resolution 2021-19. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Michael Doran,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury is not present. Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee is not present. Motion carried.
Thanks, Justin.
Let me know if anything else pops up. Happy to help.
Well, good to see you. Right, takes us to the date of our next meeting. For August 10th, as you may have seen in the emails, that presents a challenge for Archie, to certainly miss not having him here with us. His availability is I believe Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. Tuesday and Wednesday morning are not good for him. Is there something the board wants to entertain?
Is this our normal meeting date? The X Tuesday or whatever,
Correct.
second, right? Second
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes.
We got to keep track of this because the railroad is heating up and we meet third Tuesday. So I just want to make sure that I'm not running over myself. Dates of meetings are very important. And a member should make every effort to be here. If they aren't, I'm sorry, but I hate to say it, too bad. That's the date, that's the time. To change it is just crazy.
But we changed it. It was Wednesdays. We changed it to Tuesdays. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I know that. I know
yeah.
exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Sherry, but I'm saying if we're, this is where we are now, then let's just continue.
But that's unfortunate because he had prior commitment with the village when our meetings were Wednesdays.
Right.
It worked for him on Wednesdays. So, I mean, I don't have a problem moving it to a Wednesday afternoon. I don't, and keep it back on Wednesdays. I'm fine with that. I just thought I'd put that in there because we did change it to accommodate, I think it was Jeremy, because when COVID hit, he couldn't because he had to be home with the kids or something on Wednesdays. So I think, I mean, we changed it to accommodate Jeremy, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or cause any conflict. I just think it's fair that if we're going to accommodate one, we should try to be a little more flexible. Also, I mean, it's only, I shouldn't say it's only one person, but everyone matters. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
And following up on that, when the school year starts again, are we gonna be back in the same situation, Jeremy, with your availability?
No, it should be all
So-
normal-ish again.
Okay, so we could flip it back as we used to have it on Wednesday. We couldn't flip it back to Wednesday. I mean, I frankly miss Archie.
Yeah.
I feel like he's, he has that good perspective and, hasn't been involved in the last number of meetings because of timing. I think it would be good to do something to accommodate him, go back to our original plan if we could do it.
If we had known, I don't know if the conflict was a conflict when we went to Wednesday.
If the,
I don't remember knowing that Archie had a conflict Wednesday when we went to Wednesday.
He didn't have a conflict with Wednesdays at the time. It was when we switched it to Tuesdays that he had the conflict.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
If we had switched,
Understood.
if
We didn't know that.
if we had known that he couldn't have done it, we wouldn't have done it.
That's right, no, understood, understood.
But, so, I guess the question is, what do we like, better, Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning?
Doesn't matter to me. I think when we made the change to Tuesday, the assumption was that was gonna work with everybody, and it was
Right.
very helpful to you, and we wanted to be able to make sure it was critical you be involved. So that was. And that's why the question about the fall, we don't have an issue again, there's no reason why we shouldn't go back. We keep the wheels on.
Is there, is there a preference to have a meeting in the morning versus afternoon?
Well, if we're gonna, the other thing is if we're gonna do anything at all, we gotta revisit the whole thing. At one time, we were meeting once up here and once down at Paul Smith's. And I drove an hour and 10 minutes this morning with 15, 20 minutes waiting for the flag man to send me through. It's very frustrating. Yeah, and up here, most of you don't have to worry about that. I hate to say it, but that's exactly what it is.
I don't know, Jim. I've had issue on 11 to Chattagate for like 3 weeks, but we're good now. But I agree. I
sorry.
wouldn't mind switching.
Only rich people can afford Chattagay Lake, so if that's. But anyway, I'm as far as I can see right now, I think the morning is appropriate. And if we switch this time, please use the alternate meetings, north end, south end, north end, south end. This cruddy place here compared to the Paul Smith's Vic, I mean, it's a dump. I don't want to meet here.
I have two suggestions.
Yes, sir.
One is to establish, like it used to be apparently, right? Paul Smith's has the meeting location at the Vic or at the college itself.
We would alternate.
Permanently.
It was split 6 and 6. 6 meetings at Paul Smith, 6 meetings.
And if you're going to do 6 and 6 in a row, then why don't you do Paul Smith's during the winter? then we can all share the arse.
That was the issue back then too, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, during the summer down there, Paul Smith is very nice and all that sort of stuff, but it don't help nobody. So, you
guys
wrestle with it.
decide, but if I would do all 12 of them at Paul Smith's, and we would do it we'd do it somewhere there where there was a absolutely bomb-proof audio video setup, because we are required
Yeah.
to broadcast.
Oh, that's true. That's
live our
another thing. Yeah,
meetings
correct.
now. And when someone cannot make it for whatever reason, but can video in, then they can video in from
Sure.
wherever.
Okay, so.
Or in the interim, which was what we were doing this month, we couldn't do it, is we have 2 locations at the same time. Cary and Saranac Lake, and our office upstairs where we've got good audio set up. And people can come to either one of those, and it's not all together, but it's pretty close.
Why can't we come up with a rational decision and do it now? Please.
Okay, well, let's settle on the date, and maybe we can discuss the location. Do we have a suggestion for the date? Keep it second Tuesday morning of the month, change it to sometime Wednesday afternoon or sometime Thursday. Somebody want to make a,
I would make a motion for August 11th in the afternoon. I don't have a conflict with Thursday mornings except for the travel days, because I'm committed as treasurer for Rotary on Thursdays at noon.
I like the idea of Wednesday afternoons, because it gives us a chance to, as we get more active with the committees, do committee meetings potentially in the morning. And
That's a
maybe
good point.
multiple committees in the morning, so.
Good point.
Talking about trips, Jim.
Yeah.
You know, it could be 2 or 3 committee meetings in the morning, then we go in and do committee reports in the afternoon. And regular board meeting.
And I think part of what you're telling us, and I agree with that, is that, we've become so much more busy, if you will, in doing the things that we have to do, that makes some sense. I don't really care.
okay,
None of them.
I'll
suit
weigh
me.
in, I guess next. Wednesday afternoon is fine for me. Thursday morning is fine for me. If you tell me the meeting's on Wednesday afternoon, I will be here.
I was.
Or in Paul Smith, wherever we
Wherever
end
that-
up
wherever
being.
the case is. So it's, I think we're far enough in advance, as long as we find something that seems cohesive to the general flow of schedules.
And don't change it.
We should be able to run with it. And, it's, I think it's as simple as that. And if you can't be here in person, you've got Zoom as well.
Yeah. Can I push it a little further and say, what are we looking at time wise for afternoon?
Oh, no.
that's the next question. Yep. I don't know if Archie, I think he just said afternoon. I think he-
Says something like 1 o'clock. I don't know.
I was thinking 1 o'clock is a good one. Let me look for, jeez.
Drive it next time.
Whatever.
Archie is unavailable Tuesdays, additionally unavailable Wednesday mornings.
Okay.
Please keep me informed, so.
So,
And what if he's on the committee? See, this is the thing. Once you start switching things to accommodate one person, you're gonna screw yourself up to it fairly well. I mean, I think the village board ought to switch. That's the problem.
Well, the only thing I would add on that is whatever, committee he's on, the committees
Oh.
don't all have to meet, before. That's a committee thing. So, I mean, that's a great idea that you had, Steve, and it will work for some, but that's not our main board meeting. That's our committee meeting. So we could, rearrange those to accommodate. Hell, you could have those at night. It just, whatever works for the people on each committee.
I agree with that, Sherry. I think it'll work for some committees, may not work for other committees. Committees that are actually on, may have to do something else.
Right.
This is my regular ongoing pre-COVID cough. I want you to know that.
So we're looking at
I heard
1
1
o'clock on
o'clock.
Wednesday? Is that gonna work?
If that's August 11th, I'm not gonna be here.
It's August 11th.
It's my 59th wedding anniversary and I'm not gonna be here.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Well, I don't know.
Stop it.
There's still women out there, Sherry, that are threatening to kill my wife.
I
When we
bet
announced
there
our
are.
engagement, she had a list of 8 letters you wouldn't believe. But anyway, you got around it.
I love you, Jim.
I want to make you laugh, Sherry. I like that.
And the final piece on that is what are we shooting for location? Are we gonna try Paul Smith consistently? Or are we?
Can I suggest this? Can I suggest that we do our dual location thing while I investigate the feasibility of a location at Paul Smith's that will work?
Amen.
Okay,
You get me on it. I'm on that one.
Capacity at the
Good.
Gary in here.
yep.
Good.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Here.
Good one. Okay.
Good.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Adjourned. County Zoom meeting. Roll call is the same. In addition to Jim. Sorry. Okay, we'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Sure. Second.
By Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Was this where you needed to add something though, Jeremy, you said about the resolution?
No, I was just confused. It's already there.
Okay, perfect.
So in the public comment, I wanted to thank everyone that put effort into being at the retreat, the effort in putting the retreat together. Jeremy, Maria, whoever, I thought it was, thought it went well and was beneficial. And I think the one big takeaway, obviously, we did discuss committees a lot. And just, I wasn't here for the full meeting, committee meeting this morning, but just sitting in on part of it. Just hearing the things that were discussed, the ability to narrow down ideas where it could, the full board could have discussed that whole thing for probably hours. Whereas the committee can focus in and bring something to the board. I think it creates an effectiveness and efficiency that we're moving towards as a board. And so thank you for your efforts in the committees. Thanks for helping organize all that, Maria. I think it's, as our agency grows, it's going to enable us to stay focused and efficient and productive. I really believe. I thank you for those that went to the event there at Ornato, the restaurant. That went really well, very positive. Jim and Steve and Russ went.
Yes.
Any,
And I think after you're done, I want to just a
go
moment.
ahead, that's all I had for the.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Russ for all the work that he did in putting that together.
Yeah.
I think they're beginning to find out at least in Tupper Lake, that there's a thing called the Franklin County Industrial Development Agency, and that it has things that it can do for you as a business person or as a community. Secondly, I want to thank Russ for what he did for that. I also want to thank him for the report. I like that new report system that we have set up, Russ. Thank you. Makes it a lot clearer to me. It's a snapshot. It's a good snapshot. So thank you for your efforts.
Russ was the hero of the day there. His name came up a bunch
Good.
of times and
Wish I could have made it.
really did boost the visibility of the EDC. It's good.
Perfect.
So it was a good team effort and I think it was a great investment and Corey did an excellent job with the the build out. I think it's going to be a great asset for the community, and it's something I think we should be proud to be supporting.
Good. Any other public comments? We will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 8th.
So moved.
Discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Bills and communications?
Nope.
Committee reports? Visitors report.
I'm sorry, committee reports, just to let you know. The governance committee is meeting this week on Thursday, right? Is that the day we meet?
Yes.
Thursday. Thank you, Maria, for setting that up. But importantly, I think we need to start thinking about how, I hate to, it's like a duplicative effort, but how to govern ourselves. And I think it's part of what happens in terms of being able to keep all these balls in the air that we're trying to juggle. I would suggest that among other things, we may consider the possibility of having something come to the whole board and immediately be assigned to a committee. Immediately. In other words, somebody says, okay, we have a loan possibility here at X. And you assign it directly to the committee involved. Or somebody comes up and says, well, you know, it's time for personnel evaluations. And you sign up, bang, before it's right to the governance committee. We have to learn how to use these things because it makes it so much easier for Maria as our historical record. So that whenever there's a problem or ever there's a question, we can just go back into the historic record and say, oh, I don't know if we can do that without doing something else. Or, oh yeah, we can do that. There's no problem. So just to focus as to where we're going, the governance committee is going to handle 2 or 3 things this week that I think are key to knowing where we are and how we fit with all of the other people that we got to share things with, TAC, county board, that. So I think it's probably good for us to keep in mind. We may even want to appoint one of our members as a sort of like a quasi parliamentarian that looks at these things, says, I think we may be better off doing it this way, or wait until we get this done before we do that.
I like that idea, and I think you mentioned Maria, but I think it's also useful to see it from Justice's perspective.
Yes.
And when he was thinking about IDA, he's thinking about this issue, the whole thing, you know, to the extent that we could pull some of that responsibility or thought to committee chairs and committee members, that's gonna ease up to some extent his burden, and he'll feel like he's got more of a team than the group that he has to be reporting to each month, basically, and saying, here's what doing, here's what needs to be done. That means that we're in this together.
Yeah, and we have, right now, we have growing pains because we're handling things different. I mean, we're handling things we never handled before, to our credit. And I think it's good. But I do think that we need to make our chairman sort of like a traffic cop. Who says, okay, where is this now with which committee? Okay, Ellis, what are you doing over there? Herman, what are you doing in this committee or whatever? I think that's it. You have to do it.
I'm gonna get you a little badge.
That's right. Get your badge and nightstick. Get a nightstick.
All right.
Okay, whack on that. Boom.
Good. Okay, treasurer's report.
The LDC, our total checking account balance $2,286,000. Liabilities $178,000. We had income of $28,000 in June and expenses of $33,000. Our total total expenditures were $40,982. And we also have the budget at the end. Like work.
Move to accept treasurer's report.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion or questions? I believe, email concerning the loan funds, yeah. All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, let's take. Thing. So resolution 2021-23. Saranac Lake Civic Center. Bring that to the table.
Second.
Jeremy, can you give us a?
Yes, I've been assisting, working with the Civic Center for some time as they've looked at a possible renovation of their facility. It became more of a reality in this calendar year. And so I assisted them with a grant application to the state. Some renovations so that they can host the curling events for the 2023 World University Games. So that they'll be the official venue for that, which is pretty exciting. The games are hosted by Lake Placid, but a number of events are going to be in different locations, and this will be the official location for curling in Saranac Lake. They received a grant through Empire State Development to do these renovations, and asked if we would help administer that grant because they just don't have that experience or capacity. And so understanding the economic development and tourism impacts of a project like this, I worked with them to come up with a draft agreement, which I shared with you, where we would provide those administration services for a fee of $14,500. Questions?
10-5,
14,500.
14-5.
So I just have one question. I'm new to the understanding this. So how does the service fee, like, how do you come up with 14.5 as the number? Just curiosity.
What I ended up doing, because it's hard to judge something like that, was doing a flat fee instead of like the time material fee. I kind of triangulated based on what I've seen for things like this. I mean, I would say it's an educated guess.
Just curiosity, because I was like, all right, so
Yeah.
it's a pretty specific number on a task that's probably less specific, and
Yes.
because you don't know
Educated
exactly what's
guess.
gonna come in. Okay, interesting.
What we're gonna do to administer that does not involve our having to be clerk of the works and checking to see if all the.
Right.
There's an
correct.
engineer that's gonna be doing
Yes.
that, and then
No,
basically
they
telling
have,
us that work has been done,
They
right?
actually hired a full-time clerk of the works project manager who's under contract with them for 2 years.
Good, so we're working
Yeah,
as a.
so we really are limited to being the liaison with Empire State Development, making sure the documents they need for reimbursement are filed.
And the money's not even passing through our
It's not
organization.
passing through us.
It'll be billed,
Correct.
it'll be billed directly
Yeah.
to, we're just certifying basically things are done based on this.
Yeah. Packaging up
They
the
pay.
materials, sending it in, making sure they got payment.
Is there a comparable that we've done with somebody else?
No, we've not done.
But just to go back to Mike, though, normally there's a built-in percentage factor for a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
In other words, if we do this, we get 5%, as in 10%, whatever it is. And that, in this one, it's a little different. It's loosey-goosey in terms of where they're going, so.
It wasn't reasonable to do a percentage,
Right.
normal percentage.
It's like a $6 million
This one.
grant or
So,
something.
yeah, it's $4 million grant, so that, it wasn't,
10% over 400,000,
yeah,
5% over
right,
200,000, so. It wasn't $200,000 worth of work that we.
correct,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I wish I had a good answer. for you, but I don't.
That's why I asked the questions that I asked.
How much time do you anticipate?
I don't know, but Kate's helping me with it. We've already done some things on their behalf to get them set up for the Empire State Development Board meeting that happened last week. It's happening this week. So I'm gonna keep track of that just out of, just to be able
Just to
to
see.
answer this question in the future, because if this works out well, maybe additional opportunities to do some of these types of things for community organizations that don't have the capacity and that have kind of these significant projects that come around that will obviously provide benefit to Franklin County.
I think it's a great thing for us to be known as an organization that can do that. For a long time, Hanka was doing that and was recognized as a organization the state could work with that way. It's a good way to pull some additional money.
So it's an experiment but it's not an experiment in doing it. I know how to do it. It's just an experiment on what the level of effort is.
ROI.
Whether.
That's a good question. Thanks.
Very good. So we had a first and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Questions? All right, all in favor?
Is this a roll?
Do a roll call, sure.
No, I'm just asking. I don't know. Like usual.
The other resolution.
Yeah,
Go
we did
ahead.
for the other one. Okay, so this would be for resolution number 2021-73 on agreement with the Saranac Lake Civic Center. So we'll do a roll call vote. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Michael Doran,
Yes.
James Ellis.
Yes,
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury is absent. Justice Martin
Yes,
and Archie McKee is absent. The resolution is adopted.
okay. So. Good. I'd like to present the idea of an executive session for the purpose of.
It's the purpose of discussing the medical, financial credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
wow.
So, we have a motion,
So move. Executive session.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I think board for this. And entertain.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Very good.
Second.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Sherry's. Cold beer.
Come on over.
As long
Have a good day.
as long